Everything that lives is designed to end. We are perpetually trapped.
Well, that's one way to start your game, I guess. I reviewed NieR Automata a couple years ago. I liked the game, but I wasn't exactly sure why. So the original review ended up being quite shit. So now I'm redoing it and it'll be better and without the awkward how do you pronounce automata thing. Instead, I'll just call NieR NieR. The story is a unique one. By that I mean it's unique in the sense that no other game has decided to make a story like this. Now I have to admit I did like it, but it's not without its own case of little narrative dissonance. But first a quick rundown.
Activating short-range attack gear.
You play as 2B, who has the most edgelord of opening lines, more than Illidan, and he's like the king of edge. The story consists of going to Earth and investigating with NieR what the machines have been up to and why they're acting in a weird way. The weird way being they've adopted human personalities and traits such as family and fear of death, which doesn't make any sense because they're part of a network where their consciousness doesn't die. After finishing 2B's story, which I might have ruined for a friend by saying it sounds like a weird porn scene, you play as NieR, whose story is almost identical to 2B's except for the moments where you get separated from 2B. NieR gets little flashbacks to the machines as he's fighting certain bosses or when he gets to a certain point in the story. I like this because it helps flesh out the machines more than just being evil machines created by evil aliens who wanted to kill not so evil humans. Then once you finish that, you get to play as A2, the third playable character. I won't say much about her because this is where spoiler territory starts, although I prefer playing as A2 because I can't stand NieR's hacking minigame. The game points towards NieR being the real main character as you have two opportunities to play as him as well as being given more backstory of the machines. But let's be real, the only character that matters is 2B.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Let's move to the gameplay, because there's a lot to talk about, and believe me, there are some points I have a feeling some people will not like. As I said in my previous review, the game is a mix of a bunch of different genres. It only excels at 2, and even then it's still lacking. For starters, when you're playing it as a third-person action game, you'd expect there to be a number of different combos you can pull off, and yes, there are. You have your aerial attacks, your charged attacks, and switching weapons on the fly with the equip system to mix up your combos. However, when comparing this to other action games, it's lacking severely, and actually doesn't require that many button presses to perform any of the combos. To do the short sword into long sword combo, all you have to do is use the light attack once and follow it with a heavy attack when you have the two swords equipped. I always thought it was 3 light attacks and then a heavy in order to perform that move. This goes for every weapon when you want to do the light into heavy combo. It takes just one button press of each and you've done it. Reminds me a lot of playing Devil May Cry with the assist on, and that's not really a good thing to be compared to, especially when you want people to play it as an action game. The bullet hell sections are really bad. Frankly, I have no idea why even include them. When you're flying in one of the flight suits, you have a shoot, melee, and cooldown ability. You can see I'm not doing much but swinging the energy sword around while also shooting in various directions. That's literally all it is. It's almost impossible to actually die during these sections. You've got hacking as well, which NieR can perform, and I personally hate it. I understand that thematically it makes sense that there's a hacking system, but why does it have to be a watered down version of the bullet hell gameplay where you get randomized hacks? Some are easy and some are hard, which is fine because bosses should have hard ones. But some of them seem to be almost impossible because the core shoots only the black orbs, which can't be shot out the way. You have to move out the way instead. But the rate they fire them in is almost like you need to be a superhuman in order to do this. Anyway, that's enough ranting about its poor design for combat. There's an interesting upgrade system. The plug-in chips allow you to upgrade your character with a variety of different skills, my favorite being Shockwave because it adds range to melee attacks as well as looking cool. They also have different ranks, and if you have a lot of the same rank, you can speak to an NPC in the resistance camp to fuse them together to upgrade the rank of a chip. Honestly, it's a really cool way of adding new abilities onto your character, and again, it works thematically. I just wish that the chips that do healing in some form weren't so strong. You get hit, drop to 30%, and boom, instantly uses a healing item, and you've not learned the lesson that being hit is bad. Which moves us over to the game's easy mode. I get it, it's easy, so everything should be easy. But the auto-use chips that are active in the easy mode make the gameplay itself basically. The only input the player has to do is make sure the character moves forwards. You can remove those auto chips, but there's no reason not to.
We've got mortars lining the shoreline here. All the EMP shielding in the world won't help against close-range mortar fire.
I enjoyed the game's story, I found it to be interesting, it made me think a little, but its design for gameplay held it back. It's clear the game didn't know what it wanted to be, so it's lacking in all of its aspects, whether it's a lack of combos or risk. I did play it on normal, so maybe the chances of dying on harder difficulties goes up, but I don't see why you'd want to play on anything above normal. The gameplay is not that fun, being honest. While it can be satisfying to kill a group of machines, at no point did I actively go into combat because I wanted to, which in turn made it so I was a much lower level than my enemies, but level doesn't really matter that much in this game. In other titles like Metal Gear Rising or Devil May Cry, you're locked into a room or combat zone until all enemies are dead, which is the game forcing you to fight, but those games at least feel fun to play. With NieR, it feels more like a chore. Because I played this on PC, in order to have the game work properly in full screen mode, you'll need to use the mod FAR to fix the black border surrounding your screen, or the borderless gaming program to have its windowed mode run as if it were borderless full screen. Frankly, none of these two things should ever be used. We have told the developers for 2 whole years that this is a problem that we would like them to fix, and they have not bothered once. In fact, they've released a Game of the Year edition, and I'm not entirely sure if that's actually fixed anything. NieR Automata does surprisingly have replay value, but it's only in the form of its alternate endings, one for each letter of the alphabet, but there are only 5 that are real endings, with 3 of them being unlocked by default through playing the game. With all that said, I still recommend you play it, but only for the story. If you're looking for a fun action game from Platinum, then get Metal Gear Rising, Bayonetta, or Vanquish. They are far superior in every aspect of combat than this, and Vanquish is just shoot. If you enjoyed my review and would like to see more in the future, hit the subscribe button. Also, like and comment, I'm always open to feedback on my reviews. You can also follow me on social media, links in the description down below.
I mean, if you want to call me Nines, it's totally okay.
I'm good.